Because I think gold dust, and you may lay that. Why, if I hadn't taken to you like pitch, you think I'd be here warning of you? All's up. You can't make nor mend. So save your neck that I'm here speaking, and if one of the wild ones do it, where'd I be, Tom? Now tell me, where'd I be?
Silver, you're old and you're honest, or has the name of it, and you've money too, which lots of poor sailors hasn't, and you're brave, or I'm mistook. Are you mean to tell me that you're going to be led away by that mess of swabs? Not so. As sure as God sees me, or I'll lose my hand. If I turn against my duty... John!
Hands off!
Hands off if you like, Silver. It's a black conscience that'll make you feared of me. But in heaven's name, tell me, what was that?
That? Well, I reckon that'll be Alan.
Alan? Rest his soul is a true season. And as for you, Silver, long you've been a mate of mine, but a mate of mine you'll be no more. I may die like a dog, but I'll die in my duty. You've killed Alan, have you? Well, you can try and kill me, but I despise you.
Yeah!
I'm Ben Gunn. Poor Ben Gunn I am. And I haven't spoken to a Christian in these 3 years.
3 years? Were you shipwrecked?
Nay, mate. Marooned. 3 years agone. Lived on goats since then. Berries and oysters. Wherever a man is, says I, a man can do for himself. But, mate, my heart is sore for Christian diet. You haven't happened to have a bit of cheese about you now? No? Well, many's the long night I've dreamed of cheese, toasted mostly, and woke up again, and here I were.
If ever I should get aboard again, you shall have cheese by the spoon.
If ever you should get aboard again, says you. Well, why now, who's to hinder you?
Not you, I know.
Right you are. Now you, what do you call yourself, mate?
Jim.
Jim. Now, Jim, I've lived as rough a life as you'd be ashamed to hear of. But, for instance, you wouldn't think I had a pious mother to look at me.
Why, no, not in particular.
Well, I had, Jim. Remarkable pious. And I was a proper pious young boy, and I could rattle off my catechism fast as you couldn't tell one word from another. That's how it started, it did. But it went further than that, and so my mother predicted it did. She did, the pious woman. But it were Providence that put me here. I've thought it all out here on this lonely island, and I'm back on piety. You don't catch me tasting rum so much. Just a thimbleful for luck, of course, the first chance I have. I'm bound to be good, and I see the way to how. And Jim, I'm rich. Rich! And Jim, I tell you what, I'll make a man of you, Jim. Yeah, you'll bless your lucky stars you was the first that found me. Now, Jim, you tell me true. That's not Flint's ship, is it?
No, and Flint is dead, but I'll tell you true as you ask, there are still some Flint's hands aboard. Worse luck for the rest of us.
Not one with with one leg, is he?
Silver?
Ah, Silver. That were his name.
He's the cook and the ringleader, too.
If you were sent by Long John, I'm as good as pork and I know it. But where was you, do you suppose? You're a good lad, Jim, and you're on a clove hitch, ain't ya? Well, you just put your trust in Ben Gunn. Ben Gunn's the man to do it. Do you think your squire would prove a liberal-minded one? In case of help, him being in a clove hitch, as you remark.
The squire's most liberal of men.
Ah, you see, but I didn't mean giving me a gate to keep and a suit of livery clothes. That's not my mark, Jim. See, what I mean is, you think you would be willing to come down to the sum of, say, 1,000 pounds of money? That's about as good as a man's own already.
I'm sure he would, but as I was told, all hands were to share.
And a passage home?
The squire's a gentleman, and besides, if we got rid of the others, we'd want you to help work the vessel home.
Ah, so you would. Now I'll tell you what, so much I'll tell you and no more. I were in Flint's ship when he buried the treasure. Him and 6 along, 6 strong seamen. They were ashore nigh on a week, and us standing off on the old Walrus. One fine day up went the signal, and here come Flint by himself in a little boat, and his head done up in a blue scarf. The sun was getting up, and immortal white he looked about the cut water. But there he was, you mind, and the 6 all dead, dead and buried. How he done it not a man aboard could make out. It was battle, murder, and sudden death, leastways, him against the 6. Billy Bones was the mate. Long John, he was the quartermaster. And they asked him where the treasure was. Ah, says he, you can go ashore if you like and stay, he says. But as for the ship, she'll beat up for more, by thunder, that's what he said. Well, I was on another ship 3 years back, and we sighted this island. Boys, said I, here's Flint's treasure. Let's land and find it. The captain was displeased at that, but my messmates were all of a mind and landed. 12 days they looked for it, and every day they had the worst word for me, until one fine morning all hands went aboard. As for you, Benjamin Gunn, says they, here's a musket, they says, and a spade and pickaxe. You can stay here and find Flint's money for yourself, they says. Well, 3 years I've been here, Jim, and I haven't had one bite of Christian diet from that day till this. But you look here, do I look like a man before the mast? No, says you, nor I weren't neither, says I. Just you mention them words to your squire. Nor he weren't neither, them the words. 3 years he lived on this island, light and dark, rain and fair, and maybe he'd think on a prayer every now and then, you'll say. And then maybe he'd think on his old mother, so be as she's alive, you'll say. But most of his part of his time was took up with another matter. Then you'll give him a nip like I do. Then you'll up and you'll say this. You'll say, Ben Gunn is a good man, you'll say, and he puts a precious sight more confidence, a precious sight, mind that, in gentlemen born than these gentlemen of fortune, having been one himself.
I haven't understood one word that you have been saying, but how am I going to get aboard?
Ah, that's the hitch for sure. Well, there's my boat under the white rock. We might try that after dark if worse comes to worse. Hi, what was that?
They've begun to fight. Follow me.
Left, keep your left hand, mate Jim, under those trees. There's where I killed my first goat. They don't come down here no more. They're masthead up on those mountains for the fear of Benjamin Gunn. Yeah, they are. And over there is the cemetery. See those mounds? I come down here and pray sometimes when I thought Sunday might be about due. It's not quite a chapel, but it's more solemn-like. And now you be saying, I be short-handed, old Benjamin Gunn, 'cause I ain't got no chaplain. Not so much as a Bible or a flag, you say.